don't you get it? What's wrong with you?
No, I'm just asking.
Are you jealous?
No, I'm not.
See now?
Meneer, kijk nog vast, was het aardig? En dat wil zien.
En heel goede bezig, je maakt geschiedenis vandaag, nee. Oma daar, ja.
If you want to be heroes.
Oh, no, that's never going to work. Now he's running away. Alderman Koen, they brought you.
What is it weer?
Môre sê jy bes dat jy moet wees aan die voor. Ja, so. Oei, ja, nee. Did everybody get that little email from the guy that drives to the bank? Oh, van alles goed geskryf. Het jy nie julle emails gelees nie? Het was allemaal zo mooi ingeskryf. Ons wacht er
Ja, die net die naam terugrel. Hulle gee ons hoor
nou, me neither.
Lynette, you almost had a place next to me today.
No, the app, forget about that.
But it almost happened today.
Someone is closing the floor.
I saw that.
I like your plan.
For the ultra.
Ja, kry jy.
Luckily. Nice bikini kry hoor. Nice bikini kry, that's sweet.
You better be able to.
Thank you, councillors. It is 2 o'clock. I'm going to start. Can everybody settle down before I do? Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, councillors, directors. Good afternoon to the translator present, officials present, people in the gallery. Good afternoon. People online joining the meeting. Before we officially start, can I ask Councillor Skiffers to open for us with a prayer, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Baie dankie vir hierdie voorreg wat ons vanmiddag het om na u toe te kom. Here, om vir u baie dankie te sê dat u ons uitgespaar het met u kosbare bloed, Here. Dankie, Here, dat ons weet wanneer ons vandag hier by mekaar kom, Here, is dit om een doel voor oë, om te dink aan die community hier buite, Here. En ek wil bid dat u ons vanmiddag sal seën, dat u ons vanmiddag sal toerus met u krag en wysheid en insig, my koning. Ek wil bid dat u met elke een sal wees vandag, Here Jesus. En dankie, Here, vir u liefde wat alles oorbrug, my koning, en dat u ons seën van krag tot krag en van oorwinning tot oorwinning. Here, seën ons in hierdie dag en ek bid dit in Jesus naam. Amen.
Thank you, Councillors Kiffers. Official announcements. I will allow the Executive Mayor to do his announcement, and I will give special permission to Chief Whip of the NCC for an announcement, and also to Councillor Teresa Rousseau for an announcement from the ANC side. Executive Mayor.
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, officials, directors. Good afternoon, council, and good afternoon to the public. Madam Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. I would just first of all would like to pay my respect to our Muslim community, which is observing the month of Ramadan. I pray that they have a blessed period. And secondly, Madam Speaker, I want to speak on the upcoming trial of Jocelyn. And I would just like to thank Council for the solidarity that we showed when we wrote off the fees, to you and administration, when you agreed, when the judge came and met with you, that you even gave and say, tell us what you want, and we'll do it. Your support to the justice system, and to Council for setting an example to South Africa, that we can actually bring government to the people, that we can actually bring courts to the people. I just hope and pray that we show this solidarity right through the trial, that we stand together as a council, and that it will bring a spotlight to gender-based violence. I think many of you saw the video that is flying around our area. That is shocking. It is absolutely horrific. And we need to definitely put an end to our vulnerable women and children in our community. So let's stand in solidarity against that and with each other. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor, Deputy Mayor, colleagues, and to all our viewers at home. So the Executive Mayor practically touched on the same thing that I'd like to base my announcements on. First and foremost, also with regards to the Jocelyn case, we are proud as Council in its entirety to have been a part of making this historical decision, because I am sure that all of us want the same thing, and that is justice for little Jocelyn. However, at the same time, I'd like to reiterate, not only to our members in Council, but also to our residents at home, let us have the respect that we would in every other matter. Let us follow the rules of law and obey the rules of law, so that we are all able to attend these kinds of trial hearings without being stopped from being able to do so because of our own behavior. So let's go there and attend firstly as community members before we attend as politicians, because it is for the best interest of little Jocelyn. Furthermore, I'd like to wish my Muslim brothers and sisters, as well as our Muslim residents in the whole of Saldanha Municipality, a prosperous and blessed Ramadan Kareem to you all. I pray that Allah makes this a month of success and ease all your burdens. So thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Russell.
Madam Speaker, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, all of the beautiful colleagues around the table, our public, every child, woman in Saldanha Bay, and gentlemen as well. I'm going to touch on two things. The Mayor and Councillor Jackson ran ahead of me in this, but the ANC is clear on one thing. We are against gender-based violence. Jocelyn is our child, as she was her mother's child, and she deserves justice. She deserves support from the community, but above all, she deserves that every child will be treated as they should be treated. So the ANC's call is this. Number one, report abuse. When you see it, report it. As the Mayor was saying, an hour or so ago, a video was circulating of our town of a man beating up his wife in a car in public view so badly that we had to phone SAPS. And this happens every day, and everybody turns a blind eye. So please do not turn a blind eye. Report, stand up, stand strong. Number two, when we go to the court, please, all of us that's going to attend, wear black. It's our request, with a white ribbon, because black shows power, firstly. The white ribbon shows the purity of Jocelyn. And we as a community looked for her, we searched for her, and now let us go ensure that those that did this to her will pay the full price of the law. Then also to all the Muslim viewers and to our Muslim colleagues, may you be blessed in Ramadan. May Allah give you all that you deserve and that you need, and may He ease your burdens. And then may we show in this time to the Muslim community the same solidarity and the same presence that we are shown during Easter from the Muslim community and during Christmas as well. And then my final plea is this. We live in the Western Cape, and every single day when you put on your cell phone or you put on the news, a child is murdered, raped or killed, not just in the rest of South Africa, but more predominantly so in the Western Cape. Children are shot in their front yards by gangsters, drive-by shootings, young children are dying by the oodles. And we, as the people that lead, should stand up and say that this should not happen anymore. It's starting to happen in our towns, in Vredenburg, in Witteklip, in George Courage, in Dyersville. It's happening all over. And this is unacceptable. We need to stand up. We've got so many missing children. And yet we are not hearing, all of us, shouting at our top of our lungs that this must not continue. But we're quick to play politics. So let us stop playing politics and let us all come together, all 27, 28 of us, and let us show the communities that every life matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Russell. Municipal Manager.
Thank you, Speaker, and good day to all the councillors, Honourable Mayor, Deputy Mayor and Speaker, as well as all the councillors. I just want to give a little bit of information around the case that's going to happen from Monday, the 3rd, for 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how long it takes for all the witnesses for the court to come to a verdict and so forth. I just want to let you know that this is now gazetted as a circular court, so it's no longer under the municipal supervision. It'll be totally taken over by the Department of Justice. So in other words, people that calls us to go and organize a seat for them, that cannot happen. We do not have any jurisdiction there. It is gazetted. And in terms of the rules, 100 meters around the fence of the MPC is still within the auspices of the court. So any behavior that is unfitting will be dealt with by the police. And we also need to just take cognizance that there's limited seats that will be allowed. It will be a court. So in other words, everybody that comes will not always be accommodated, but they are looking at making provision for people on another or on the other side of the road. So all people that's visiting will be parking at the overflow parking. You cannot come in. You need to go through the whole court process for you to get in through the gate. I just want to make that clear.
Thank you, Emin. Councillors, thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Also from the Chair as a Speaker of the House, also to our Muslim community. All the best for the month of Ramadan. And then also thank you, Councillor Executive Mayor, that also reiterated our support towards the gender-based violence that's currently occurring in our region, and also towards the court case and the support, and not to politicize it. Councillors, thank you. Then I'm at leave of absence. It seems we are all present. Marlene, is yes, we are all present. Thank you. Emim, any directors? All here. Full house. Okay, thank you. Then I'm at item 10, and I'm reading from the minutes of the Mako meeting. Item 10, declaration of interest. Anybody? None? Can I have confirmation of the minutes for the virtual special council meeting of the 14th of February? Can I have a proposal and a secondment, please? Thank you, Councillor Mamabolo, Alderman Mamabolo. Secondment? Thank you, Councillor Kutze. Apologies.
I can't believe that I'm going to say that, but I need your guidance on something here. And I know we're dealing with the truthfulness of the meeting of
The 14th.
Yeah. I just want to refer to the minutes of the Mako. Is that applicable here or not? Although
I'm not at the minutes of the Mako yet. We're going to deal with the matter now.
Okay, thank you.
I'm approving the minutes of the 14th, where we approve to waive the cost of the MPC. Okay. Secondment, Councillor Kotze. Okay, thank you. Then, councillors, before I go on with the minutes for the item 12/2, I just want administration to note the following. There is a typo. It's not implantation, it's implementation. And then at the bottom, it shows that Madam Speaker must sign the minutes. It's not me, it must be the acting executive deputy mayor that was acting at that meeting. Thank you, administration. You need to correct that. Councillors, then I'm at item 12/2. Any questions for clarity before I ask that we vote on the approval of the adjustment budget? Councillor Chief Whip of Good, Apologies, I forgot to announce. Administration, please note that Councillor Tyrone Williams is now the Chief Whip of the Good Party. Councillor Witboy is now the caucus leader of the Good Party in Council. Thank you. Chief Whip?
Kan ik voor hem rechtstellen in dat ik National Liaison Committee mee position in ons partij opgenomen is. Dus ik kom hier verandering ook gekomen.
Congratulations. He was also promoted in politically. He's now the National Liaison Committee member for the Good Party. Congratulations, Mr. Councillor Witboy. Moving up the ladder. Chief Whip, you may continue.
Speaker, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Speaker, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and everyone. Speaker, I just have a few. Item R12, page 11, and I'm referring to page 4 of the Micro Minutes, Speaker. The human settlement grants decreased with 35.6 million. Speaker, there was a lot of questions raised in the MICO meeting, according to the minutes that I have here, and the explanation is for me very baie vague. I couldn't understand that. Then the other thing is, Speaker, what frustrates me is the fact that I've written an email asking for this very same clarity, and up to now, I didn't receive any feedback. Nothing at all. So, are we as councillors being undermined because it is strange that we don't get responses when we send emails with regards to urgent matters? Madam Speaker, with that being said, when I read through this report, specifically page 11, it tells me that no houses will be built within the Saldanha Bay municipal area. I don't know if this is a political thing. Next year is elections. So if I understand it correctly, all these projects will only start in January 2026, if I'm not mistaken. Because in our IPS meeting, Mr. Groenewald stated there, like the Langmill 309, the tender will only go out in May. And there's a lot of time frames. So in other words, the contractor will be on site around about December, if nothing happened. So I really don't know why the delay is there. And I need some answers regarding that, Madam Speaker. Then the other one is, Speaker, on page 12. Come on, just give me a second, Speaker. Speaker, yes, once again, table 7, the provincial grant summary. I try to understand this. The human housing and human settlement, the operating one, the original budget was 47 million. They adjusted in November with 66 million or 266 million. Declined rollovers 175,000. Grant adjustments in brackets, it's 14 million. Department adjustments is 31 million. In other words, we will not use that money. So I need to know where are we moving this money, and why is it so much? The same with the capital one, 13 million grant adjustments, department adjustments 2 million. For me, Speaker, it's really worrying. And then, Speaker, on page 13. Table 10. Speaker, this is a joke. And I'm saying this with all due respect. The original budget 2024-2025 was 326 million. The adjustment one in November was 431 million. The adjustments now, February 2025, 95 million, which brings us to a total of 336 million. It is really a joke. While our people is suffering outside, they just move money as they please, which is not on. Speaker, then I want to say the following before I conclude. Deputy Mayor, your MMC of IPS is throwing you under the bus by taking money away. MEC Tertius Summers is looking, you look bad because they take money away from your department. And for me, that is not fair towards you, honestly speaking. In Afrikaans, Speaker, I'm going to talk Afrikaans now. Speaker, MEC Summers, een Afrikaanse term, is sleg. Hy dink nie aan ons mense op die grond van Saldanha by munisipaliteit om money te skuif soos hy goed dink nie.
I need to caution you, you can't use that kind of language in here. Yes, you have got privilege, but you cannot be talking like that. Can you withdraw, please?
Speaker, I withdraw.
Thank you.
Let me rephrase, Speaker. The MEC is a disgrace to this municipality for taking away money as he pleases, and we must just accept it, which is not fair. The same like the MEC of Education, MEC David Meneer, the same like MEC Tertius Summers. They don't care about us in the municipality. They're doing as they please, and the directors in the municipality must work with the peanuts what they are getting from. So, Speaker, with that being said, the Good Party, in conclusion, Speaker, the Good Party cannot support this adjustment budget based on all these adjustments that is here. Now, someone will say, but now you said that everything must stand still. It's not the case. It is really not the case. It is the fact that the Western Cape government doing as they please, and we must just accept it, which is not fair towards us. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Chief Whip of Good. Councillor Jackson first, and then Councillor Rousseau, and then Councillor Morrison.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I have not only comments of input to make at this point, but also in between my comment session, a few questions will arise from there. So, first and foremost, I find that on page 13, that it indicates employment costs will be decreased by 3 million rand. And in today's life, we find that the unemployment rate is exponentially very high. It is so much so that a lot of our households in Saldanha Bay municipality is unable to even meet their own daily needs. Okay, yet we find that we are cutting costs on unemployments. So the concern we have with the cuts on the employment cost is at the cost at who, at the cost of what? Because we still find that there's so many vacant posts available within the municipality, yet we're standing here and cutting costs to the employment cost. So basically, what I want to know is how is that cost of employment decrease of 3 million rand, what effect is that going to have on our direct community when it comes not only to the service that will be delivered to them through the officials or people working for the municipality rendering the services to them, but also to every household who is in dire need of just being alleviated from poverty at the slightest possible way. And then further going on, Madam Speaker, through you, I don't see anywhere on this adjustment budget, or maybe I've just overread it, but if clarity could please be given. I don't see anywhere on this adjustment budget any account being given regarding legal fees. because we all know for the fact that the municipality does have quite a lot of money going out for legal activities and services being rendered to them, but I didn't find it in here. We are also aware of all the labor disputes and things that is currently running, but you don't find those in all of the reports. I'm going to reiterate again and say that when we were sitting in council and accepting the capital budget, or when it was placed before us, it really was a good budget. And I was proud to be a part of a municipality where we're doing good than a lot of other people. Yes, we can all agree that there's always room for improvement. And as we stand now, even SPM has a lot of room for improvement. But the fact that we find that in this adjustment budget, yes, I understand, Madam Speaker, that the adjustment budget is only adjusting the finances as far as we have come now, based on the work that is done, based on the work that has not been done yet. But when you find that there's a decrease overall departmental, it leaves us with some sort of a worry. Because while there's still room for improvement, we are cutting budget so much so that it leaves us with a worry to think that, is the service delivery going to be of an even less satisfactory nature? And yes, Madam Speaker, I might not be speaking for all the wards on that regard, but the people that are always affected the most by this is the poorest of the poor living in the most impoverished states. So that was the concerns that we have. And furthermore, Madam Speaker, we find on page 14 that a lot of capital budgets, capital projects will not be commencing anymore. However, this report makes no mention of any reason as to why we are not commencing with these projects anymore. So to conclude, Madam Speaker, the NCC is fairly concerned with regards to this adjustment budget. And again, it's not to stand in the way of the work taking place, but it is with the effect and the impact this will have on our community, our direct community, and especially the poorest of the poor. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Rousseau.
Madam Speaker, I've got quite a few points, so let me start. First of all, after reading the MACO minutes, first reading the agenda and all the reports therein, and then the MACO minutes, I'm utterly concerned. I'm actually shocked and then concerned. I'm concerned that in the MACO minutes it stated very clear the questions that my colleagues on the other side raised, that is in the MACO, makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up straight. I'm very worried that we decreased our human settlement grant by 35.6 million. I am very, very worried that every foreseen project, those that have already been foreseen, will not be implemented this year, and that is written in the MACO minutes. I'm concerned that the questions were raised why the provincial government reduced the housing grants, why the housing department here reduced its budget. I'm concerned that the question was raised, which of these projects cannot be completed by 30 June 2025, and then I revert back to where it says already foreseen projects will not be implemented this year. So that's almost all of them. That is a scary tactic. Whatever's happening there is not normal. Then I'm very concerned that there is need for a councillor to request what is the progress on each housing project that has been rolled over year after year and has not been completed. And now I know that my colleagues on the other side is going to say that municipality is not responsible for housing. We'll talk about that another time. Then we get to the fact that there's a reduction of 1.7 million in MIC funding, and that the council made a decision to reprioritize that. So the ANC would like us to get, on the opposition side, we would all like to get that council meeting resolutions that stated that. Then I get to page 37, and that says that the mayoral office was going to be revamped with 640,000 rand. It's work to be done. And then the deputy mayor was like, no, that cannot be done because we're not aware of that. So now my question is, do they not communicate? How do these things work? Then we continue and we get to the fact that it says, we do not meet the target for compliance due reasons indicated in this report. Then we go to page 4 in the beginning of this, and it says, there will be a decrease in electricity revenue with 7.2 million rand. But the reason is not really given, so I would like the CFO to explain that. Then it says sales of goods and rendering of services will decrease due to the adjustment of housing top structures allocated under this item. But the projects are not continuing, or somehow I'm not reading this properly. Then we go to page 12. And this now touches Ward 9, Ward 12, and Ward 1, which is all the informal areas which are supposed to be upgraded and formalized. And in the adjustment budget of 2024, November, we increased that to 15,054,899. But with this new adjustment budget, you want us to decrease it to 6,204,627. That is almost 9 million rand decrease. So that means that all my people, the ANC's people and the EFF and so forth, who lives in the informal areas are going to be waiting for toilets, water, electricity, etc., because the formalization will not happen because the money's not there. So they have to wait till next year. Now, page 85. We'll jump like this. The person that wrote the report wrote the following in his little table, that we give efficient and competitive service. That's page 112 to 114. But on page 85, I'd like to pose the question to the person who wrote this report. There's plus minus 6,000 people living in Middelbos. There's plus minus 7,000 people living in George Courage in the informal areas. And there's 3,500, a little bit more, in Langville. Now the dwellings that you wrote on there, that says the dwellings that have individual service points for water, which is a tap, is 1,120 of those, right? So if we count up the 6,000, the 7,000, and the 3,500, that gives you 16,500 homes, right? Or shacks or houses, whatever you want to call them. But dwellings that people reside in. So you've got 1,120 individual service points, which is taps. The number of communal service points is 810. Then you have 105 formalized communal service points. So if I count that up, that's less than 3,000 taps for 16,000 homes, people living. How is that efficient, competitive, and good service? I think you should rephrase that report. Then let's go to the next thing. There's trips that you mentioned to informal areas to go and fetch dirt. Out of the 16,500 people, there's 208 trips in a month. That is less than the neighborhood that I live in. And you call that efficient service to the poor. Right, then we go to, then we get to 112, sorry, nearly done, ma'am. So the ANC has got this to say on this budget. We do not accept this adjustment budget because you adjusted it in such a way that the poor are going to suffer more than they suffer now. They're still going to wait for the top structures that they've been waiting for since 2018, 2019, 2020, continuously. They're still going to wait for the taps and the toilets and the water lines like they've been waiting for the last 5 years. And they're still going to continue waiting. They're still going to suffer. They're still going to carry buckets to get water, and you're going to open a tap and I'm going to open a tap, and they have that. So we reject this completely. Thank you.
Councillor Morrison.
Baie dankie, almal is gegroet. Die gehoor, ons online viewers. Ja, waar begin ek? Ek het 'n lang lys met hom speaker, maar bedraagsaam wees asseblief. Ek weet die time limit is belangrik. Dankie met hom speaker. Bladsy 11. Die feit dat daar 'n decrease is op behuising van die bedrag van 35.6 mil is 'n klap in die gesig van ons mense.
I need to interject because I need to translate the first lines.
Madam Speaker, are you going to allow me the time for the translation as well? Baie dankie, Madam Speaker. Okay.
Page one.
Ek stop die klok vir jou as jy klaar gepraat het om jou tyd weer
Dankie,
terug aan
Madam
te gaan.
Speaker.
We're looking at page 12 at the housing adjustment.
Sorry, verkeerd. Bladsy 11.
Page 11, the housing adjustments.
Die feit dat daar 'n decrease is op behuising van die bedrag van 35.6 miljoen rand is 'n klap in die gesig van Saldanha Bay munisipaliteit se mense.
The fact that there is a decrease in the amount that he's just mentioned is a slap in the face for the people of Saldanha Bay.
Dit is 'n bewys van die onvermoë van ons huidige regerende party om te voorsien aan die basiese behoeftes van ons mense. Ons praat hier van behuising mense.
This is a negative show to against the party that's leading, as we are talking about housing.
Die minister van behuising en die MSC van infrastruktuur moet hulle skaam, as ook ons plaaslike regerende party in die onvermoë om ons mense doeltreffend te diens.
The three parties that was mentioned, the council, the leading party, the Minister of Infrastructure, all three are to blame for this this showcase, and that is it's a negative impact on all the people that is involved.
Dan die volgende ene, bladsy 13.
Page 13 is the next one.
Capital budget expenditure decrease van 95 miljoen.
A capital budget of a decrease of the amount that is mentioned.
Dis ook 'n klap in die gesig van Saldanha Bay se mense.
It's also a slap in the face to the people and the community of Saldanha Bay.
Dis 'n bewys van die onvermoë om ons mense doeltreffend te diens om die geld aan te wend.
It's a showcase that the people are being won over by the money that is not being used.
Dan bladsy 20.
Page 20.
In die capital budget is daar 'n rollover bedrag van 75 miljoen. 75.6 miljoen.
There's a rollover budgeted amount there that is just mentioned.
Nog 'n bewys van ons plaaslike regerende party se onvermoë
It's another showcase that the leading party has done a negative impact
om ons mense te diens
to serve the community.
met betrekking tot swak beplanning om projekte te implementeer en deur te sien.
Just to show that there's bad planning to get end results, good end results.
Dan is daar net nog iets, Madam Speaker. Ek sien daar's 'n bedrag van 1 miljoen wat geallokeer is vir legal services.
There's an amount for legal services that I'm seeing as well.
Ek wil graag weet die dissiplinêre verhoor van amptenare.
I would like to know the disciplinary procedures that were taken against the officials.
Die gelde wat aangewend is daarvoor, watse prosesse was gevolg? Waar is dit aangedui op die adjustment budget?
What processes were followed to do these disciplinary measures,
En
and
dan-
where is it shown in this adjustment budget?
En as ons dalk 'n verduideliking kan kry, want dit is hier 'n true reflection van die bedrag wat gespandeer is op regskostes met betrekking tot dissiplinêre verhore nie.
And we just need clarity on that, as this is not a true reflection of what is in fact happening.
Na gelang van al hierdie lelike dinge wat nou genoem is,
All these negative things that I've just mentioned,
het die Patriotic Alliance geen ander opsie
Ja.
as om die budget te reject, want dit is 'n klap in die gesig van Saldanha Bay munisipaliteit se mense. And I thank you.
so the PA is in disagreement with this budget and is not approving it, as it is a slap in the face for the community of Saldanha Bay.
Thank you, Councillor Morrison. I'm not sure now whose hand was first, Executive Mayor or Councillor Coetzee? Okay. Councillor Coetzee, and then, can he go first? Councillor Luando?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Molweni, tibulisa wena Mayor, tibulisa wena Somlomo wendlu, tibulise nesigqeba sonke. Andizoba mde, Madam Speaker.
I won't be long, Madam Speaker.
Kodwa ke andikho happy
I am not happy
as a EFF leader apha lo masipala.
as a leader in this municipality.
Thina ke singulombutho we-EFF
We as the EFF,
asamkelani nezinto esizibonayo into yoba zinoku-undermine abantu bakuthi.
we do not agree to anything that undermines the people.
Le adjustment budget, it's very clear into yokuba i-undermine thina as i-lead esikhoyo ekhansileni, i-undermine ukuhlala kwethu kukonke nje kwezi ndawo zabantu abamnyama.
This adjustment budget is, it's not dwelling well with us as the EFF, and it's also not sitting well with the people of the community.
Ndizawuthi qaba ke ndihlale phansi.
I will just summarize and sit down.
Okokuqala, Madam Speaker,
First point,
sine challenge enkulu kula area yase Joslovo eMiddelburg eWard 1.
Ward 1, Joslovo, there is a big challenge.
Sesixoxa ngoku apha sibulela ne department ye justice ngolphulo ilithabathileyo
As we are,
izawuqhuba pha eMultipurpose Center. Ilento yongahoyakali kwabantu Oh, sorry.
now that we are here arguing and debating the issue of what had transpired and what we spoke about this morning, the incident that we spoke, it's because of people not being taken well of.
Sihleli ixesha elide bumnyameni pha kula informal settlement.
In that informal settlement, we're sitting in the darkness.
Ngoku sixelela ngento yokubana ngokwendlela edecreasewa ngayo ilanduka as capital budget sizibonayo apha zibe zi-affecta i-current situation esikuyo phaa kulaa ndawo. Izawuphinda futhi loo nto isenzele ezinye ii-accident. Okay.
Can you just repeat the last? Yes, can you just repeat the last?
Okay, it's fine. Ndithi Madam Speaker, olunciphiso nilenzayo lwemali.
The adjustment that's done on the money,
Leli lizawusenzela ingxaki liphinde lihlase bumnyameni ngoba
the decrease of this capital adjustment that's being done, it's going to bring about a lot of issues and problems.
ngoba kwala project yombane iqhubekayo pha eJoslovo
Because of-
ayikazenzi kwa izindlu eziyi-300.
Because-
Just imagine xa uzokuthiwa ngoku ayizogqiba iza kustopa.
Because that
Where is it
project that
says
is currently
ends?
running there for the 300 houses is being stopped. If it's being stopped now, imagine the causes and what impact that will have.
Ayiyo yodwa ke indawo enengxaki iMiddelburg. Ward 9, Ward 12 sikwi same situation. Loo nto ke iyasixelela into yokuba abantu abamnyama bafunwa tu ngulo masipala walapha eSaldanha Bay.
It's not only Joslovo, but Ward 9, Ward 12 has got same issues. That means that we are not being valued at this municipality.
Ngoba sasibeke yacaca into yokubana asizifuni i-mobile toilet ebantwini
We
bakuthi.
made it clear that we do not want mobile toilets at our communities.
Sine-infection yezisu.
We have
Okay. Sine-infection yezisu ezikhoyo kwezi wards zethu.
We have-
Asizazi noba zibangelwa nazo ezi mobile toilet. And okwesibini
We have these issues of the tummy bags. We're not sure if these tummy bags are caused by these mobile toilets that are currently there.
I'm not sure ukuba i-department iyayiqwalasela na le cost siyenzayo singulo masipala wokuhirisha ezi mobile toilet.
Is
Because
I'm not sure if the municipality or the department is aware of the cost that's paid while acquiring these mobile toilets?
Imali esispendayo according to reports esizifumanayo apha emeetingini ingaphaya kunalena besinokuyo besinokuinstalla itoilet eziproper for abantu bakuthi kwezi indawo.
Councillor, your time is up. Translate. You won't translate that. Thank you.
I want to make it clear, Madam Speaker, we reject the adjustment budget.
Thank
We
you.
don't support it.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Kutse.
Madam Speaker, as Councillor Rousseau, who represents the ANC, has alluded to, that she's scared of the questions we've asked from this side. I understand that the ANC are in general scared of questions. What normally scares us is the answers they provide. Now, I just want that tongue in the cheek being said, that I think it will just be fair that I see the municipal manager has made notes, as well as the CFO. If we can provide some of the answers here, if not all, if it's possible, because the audience out there also hear these questions without
Madam
proper
Speaker,
answers.
Madam Speaker, I think
Point of order. Point 43.
we're raising the hands, most. We're raising the hands, but you don't recognize us.
Councillor, please go and read your order rules. Is somebody raising on a point of order? No. Councillor Kutse, you may continue.
I'm also raising the
Point of order.
What is your point of order, Councillor Witbooi?
43.
And you may stand, please. What is 43? Can you read it out? Thank you. That is not a point of order.
Speaker.
Wrong.
Nee, point 42.
42, relevance.
Yeah. Point 43. Point 1, stroke 2.
What is the point?
In
Thank you.
the point is in point 43.2.a. Point 2.a. Aangeleendheid wat met procedure verband hou. Madam Speaker.
It's not here.
Councillor Witbooi, you're quoting totally wrong. Councillor Kutse has merely requested that the MM do respond on the question that was raised in the MACO that the ANC has alluded to. I will now allow the municipal manager to respond. Councillor So, follow up? Are you not finished? Apologies, it seems Councillor Kutse is not finished yet. Councillor Kutse?
Madam Speaker, thank you. I just wanted to help my colleagues on this side that they get the answers, and that the general public out there also get the answers, that it's not all doom and gloom, that there are reasons for that, and I actually want to help them. So, thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, we can't be addressed by someone who's owing our municipality. We can't be addressed by someone who's owing our municipality.
Madam Speaker, point of order.
Please.
Thank you, Councillor Executive Deputy Mayor.
Madam Speaker, I'm raising a point of order 321, unseeing behaviour of councillors that is now acting out of line. They are not calling points of order, they just continue speaking over and above you with disrespect. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Deputy Mayor. You are correct. He's quoting the correct rule. Councillor Lwando, I know you're upset, plus please respect the rules and respect the House. Thank you. Councillor Rousseau, you wanted a follow-up question? Councillor Rousseau? You may rise before the municipal manager.
Has he paid his account yet, Councillor Kutse? Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Acting Chief, vote please. For the disciplinary committee. Thank you. I'm sorry, Councillor Rousseau is on the floor. I acknowledge.
Madam Speaker, I'm not going to bring a point of order. I don't need to do that. I just find it amusing that adults find it amusing to laugh at other councillors. Secondly, I find it utterly nauseating that you allowed a councillor to make a personal remark to me and not address the relevance and the document. He made a personal remark towards me. You did not call a point of order for that. You did not address him for that, but you addressed every single person sitting on this side that tried to raise a point of order. That is not acceptable.
You want to hear what you wanted to hear. Councillor Morrison, I will allow the mayor once you want to add to your questions raised. You've already said that you're not in agreement
Ja,
with
Madam
the budget.
Speaker, ek wil graag die laaste punt wat ek gemaak het,
I just want to touch on the last point that I made.
in verband met hy dissiplinêre uitgawes, die uitgawes van hy legal cost
In
of die
cooperation with those, the outcomes of the legal
of
procedures,
dalk die direkteur van LED
if the
of
director
hulle
of
dalk, want dit hou
LED,
direk verband met hy geval wat in die koerant gewys het. Ek sien daar was bedrage gegooi in die koerant in.
there was an
En
amount
hier
that
is
was
'n
thrown
vaar
at the
bedrag. So ek sal graag wel duidelikheid hê.
The MP wants to respond.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. We're not at that item.
Thank you. Can the
Madam Speaker, jammer.
councillors sit down, please? Executive Mayor, the MM, you can go first. Thank you. No. MM, you may speak. Councillors, thank you. Allow the MM to respond.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you for the questions. I'm going to start. I'll start with it, and between myself and the CFO that drafted the report, as well as the director IPS, we will try to answer all the questions. Those questions that we could not answer, we will quite willing to do that in a written format, but we'll try to get to most of them. I think the first part of the questions was around housing. We all know, and Councillor has talked about it, that we are an agent of the department. And you also mentioned that there was a lot of money that was taken away from the department, took away from us. That is, and Gerard will explain a little bit about that a little bit later. With regard to that, especially you've mentioned specifically, Councillor Williams, about Laneville, but I also had a discussion with you with regard to what the problems we have had with the contractor that we have appointed. By this time, we hoped that it would have been finished, but the contractor delivered work that was not value for money, and we had to go through a process with that contractor. We are currently busy with the process of appointing a new contractor. So unfortunately, we have to go through all the right processes so that we don't have an issue on that, which keeps us up a little bit longer. So we'd rather want to make sure. So we'd rather tell you, listen here, we're going to take a few weeks more than what we will take. We'll try to make it as quick as possible, but we need to ensure that nobody can come back to us, because we do not want to create or have another delay on this project. This project has been coming on for a very long time, and we are actually we really want to put this one to bed. So if there's any other thing else, I'll take it offline with you to explain where we are exactly with regard to that, and I will push that. But if you're not happy, Gerard can also just add to that. Council of the NCC, you talked about the employment costs decreased. Most of the employment cost decrease was due to the fact that we have provided for positions to be filled. Those positions was not filled yet, so it's no use we keep that money, the first 6 months worth of money. Those money must not be released to be used somewhere else. But Stefan will just give you some indicators there. You are quite right. We did not tell you in terms of the operational budget what we're not rolling any money over in the legal services. The money that we're talking about here that is being rolled over, the 1 million rand here, is for the furniture for the municipal court. We have unfortunately had some issues with the building, so the building will only be finished in September. So we do not want to buy for the sake of buying and have it stored somewhere. We rather want to buy when the building is in the right place. So that's why we're rolling that over. That 1 million rand is not for cases, because all the cases are being paid out of the operational budget that was approved in March and May the previous year. So this 1 million rand that we're talking about here is for it's a capital that we had for legal. It's for the furniture that we're going to use in the municipal court. So it's very specific and as per the direction of the Department of Justice. So we didn't want to sit with that here, with that somewhere in a storeroom or something like that. We'd rather buy it in the next financial year, which means after July and not before July. Just going forward with regard to the MIC reduction, Gerard, we can, okay. Gerard will just speak a little bit about that. There was, I think the housing, I have spoke about that. The mayoral office revamped. You have spoken about that. We will just remove that project from the budget. That's no issue. There's always work that we can do within the municipality, especially with the buildings, upgrading our buildings and our halls. Maybe, Councillor, you can help us push that money towards Langville, but all right, anyway, that we can use it there. Stefan, you're going to talk about the decrease in electricity. Gerard, you're going to talk a little bit about the informal settlement decrease. Mr. Morrison spoke about the capital budget that we are decreasing. We'll talk a little bit about that. I will, after they've spoken, also speak again with regard to that, just to give you an indication as to why we have come to this specific number. Yes, I think the mobile toilets, ma'am, unfortunately, as this is an informal area, the toilets is unfortunately the way that we go, but we're willing to take that offline with the councillor. Stefan, maybe you can start and then Gerard can take over.
Thank you, MM. The CFO will respond on the questions raised that MM has not touched on, and then the Director IPS will follow.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. Let me speak about two matters. The employment cost, the MM has started, but he said I must just continue, so I'll continue with that. The first point, let me just speak about the electricity reduction. So there's 7 million rand reduction in the electricity from 567 million to 560 million. So why are we reducing the electricity revenue? Everyone will know what the situation is with revenue. You have load shedding, you don't have load shedding. The units, if it's load shedding, there's less units that we sell. The history is not very consistent that we can calculate exactly what the revenue will be. So we've tried our best last year to calculate the revenue, and this year, closer to the end of the financial year, which is 30 June 2025, there's 6 months of history. So we felt let's recalculate the electricity, and we calculated it to be 7 million rand less. It's just an estimate. It can be maybe that reduction will not realize, but that's our best estimate at this point in time, and we felt we had to include that in the adjustment budget because it's a reduction in revenue, and we also need to reduce our expenditure, because if you don't have enough revenue, you have to cut your expenditure. So those two is very closely linked together. The other point is on the staffing cost. So last year, when council approved the budget, they felt they want to reduce the tariffs. So they reduced the water tariffs as well as the electricity tariffs. And again, we had to reduce our operating expenditure. So back then, we wanted new positions of about 7-8 million rand. And because of that reduction in revenue, we froze the positions. And we said we're not going to fill those new positions. And because of the advanced stage of the budget, you cannot make changes. So we said we will do the changes now in the main adjustment budget, which is February. So we're just removing the funding, which the council already made a decision in April, May of last year.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm going to try to run over most of the projects and just give in short what the challenges is with each of these projects. If I can start with Langwell of 80, it's the funding that has been provided is for planning, and we appointed a consultant but couldn't get final answer from Eskom on the capacity of the system, whether we can carry on with the development. So it doesn't, we spend a lot of money, and Eskom is not ready for us to provide electricity for over 80. I think it's 300 urban. So at this stage, we said, let's reduce the money to zero because we put the project on hold till Eskom can provide us with proper answers. Then George Carriage Farm 142-4, the funding was also provided for planning stages. The consultant has been appointed and we still await approval from the provincial department, which was indicated that tranche 1.1 to the value of 489 rand will be approved, and that's the money that we will be able to spend, although we provided 3.7 million for that. So it will just show it as unspent, so we rather reduce it to have our more credible budget. Lowell Earth 123/69. The project has been also, consultants has been appointed, and we went through all the stages of Lupa and so on, and then we ran into the problem with the sensitive vegetation in that area. It's an area of 6.1 hectares, and the offset needed is 61 hectares. So we wrote a letter to Environmental Affairs regarding that, and we still await their response on that. So definitely we're not going to spend the money on that one, which was almost 500,000, and we propose to reduce it to zero. The same with Moropo site A1. We also ran into sensitive vegetation of 25 hectares. Environmental Affairs needs 750 hectares from us for offset, which we haven't got. So till we could resolve the problem with Environmental Affairs, there won't be spending on that one also, which is 550,000 rands worth of reduction. Site A in Saldanha, Middelpos, there were the problem with the relocation of the stormwater dam. All of you know about it, next to the school, the soccer field and the ablution facility there. So we had to go and see how can we relocate that stormwater dam as planned, and it came out that we have to do or run through an environmental process, which we immediately instruct the consultant to go on with. So that means we have to wait for approval again. So that's a reduction of 3.8 million rand. Then with the urban revitalization project here in Vredenburg, we also ran into sensitive vegetation of 6 hectares, and the offset required is 180 hectares, which we haven't got. So it's also a process of see what Environmental Affairs is going to do with that one, what they will approve or what they will help us and determine the real ecological value of that land. That means we had to reduce the 8.3 million to zero, because we're not going to spend the money there as the process needs approval. White City 24 or 20 urban, there, as you know, we had to terminate the consultant because of bad performance. We had to go through the whole process again to appoint a second consultant, which realized eventually. Then there were delays, which was encountered because of the first consultant. We had to pay him as far as he got. So now we sit with a funding deficit that we have to ask for province again for more money on that one. That took time for approval. Then we had to get funding for a temporary relocation area, and which approval also takes some time. The construction of that TRA did happen. I know everyone has saw that 20 houses there. Then eventually when the project was out on tender, there was a big difference in the funding available and what the actual cost is going to be. So we had again asked for approval from the department, which we got. So at this stage, the project is at evaluation stage to appoint a contractor. To be realistic then, for the time left in the book year, we had to reduce that funding by 1.2 million. Otherwise, it's just going to be unspent. The Witteklip 1155 Phase 2 project, it was advertised, or was going to be advertised in March 2025. And we also schedule the spending, do a cash flow, and see that we have to reduce that amount also by 2.9 million to be in line with what we can or will be able to spend. But the Klip Oud Southern Bypass is under construction, and we just brought the budget in line with what the actual cost is going to be. So that's 1.2 million less than what was the budget for that project. Then on the Langwell 309 project, everyone knows about the termination of that contractor. And we're in a process, after all the steps we had to go through according to the contract management process and procedures, NEC, we're now at a stage where we busy compiling the final document, and in March it will be advertised for construction again. To be realistic, we reduced the budget of 9 million to 4.7, because that's what we will be able to spend in the months left. Level 200, the tender was a bit delayed with the CIDB requirements for training and capacitating of contractors and people. So eventually we could get it resolved only in July 2024. And whether it's a requirement that must be included or not in the top structure. So we advertise it, and it closed in November 2024. It's currently at supply chain for BEC. What is more challenging is not a tender process or supply chain processes. There is going to be a opportunity for 149 applicants. We already advertised on the 28th or 29th of August 2024, and only of the 149 opportunities, 54 beneficiaries were so far been approved. So we had to go to the next process of reducing from 60, 55 to 60. It was above 60, now 55 to 60. Still only 4 people did apply. Now we had a 50 to 55 process. So this delayed the process in such a way where we had 21.7 million to build the structures. We had to reduce that to 4 million. That's the only amount that we will be able to claim from the department due to our beneficiary problem. We must have beneficiaries to build the houses. Yes, World 559 is also a historic project. As you know, it comes from long ago. All the beneficiaries was approved, and because of the time lapse, I think it's 120 opportunities and the new C1 circular that came out, we had to go back to the provincial minister and ask him whether those approvals can still be honored. And he said, no, you have to start the process from scratch. So we had budgeted to build 28 units for 5 million. and we had to reduce that to 540 because we still struggle on getting beneficiaries. So George Carrick's 300 project, we only had to reduce it's also for planning phases, that 2.6 million that had been budgeted. We had to reduce that to the actual cost, which we will be able to spend within the year, to 560,000 rand, which will be paid to the consultant as for trans 1.1. Feasibility studies on Chichi informal areas. We went out and appointed a consultant. They're busy with the feasibility studies, and in line with what we will be able to spend, the budget is 3.89 million, and we see that we will only, according to the cash flow, be able to spend 2,080,000. So that's mostly the reason for reducing the budget. On the mix reductions, there were, I can't remember the amount now, how much we got for mix, but a big part of that was for the upgrade of Langwell wastewater treatment work. I think it was 3 million for that. Now, due to design parameters, approvals from the sector departments, and all the delays that we encountered, we had to go back to the MIC department and say, but we will underspend this money. Or if they will approve, we will buy specialized utility vehicles specifically for cleaning in informal areas, which they then, at this stage, the MIC people approve, so we're still waiting for National Treasury for their final approval, and then we will buy those vehicles specifically for informal areas for cleaning. Speaker, I think that's the long story.
Thank you, Director IPS. It would have helped if you responded on Councillor Williams' email, MM. MM, you can add?
Thank you.
No. Let them respond, because I haven't responded on all the questions, because I made notes. You must still add something.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to make clear a few things. As Gerard has mentioned, because he went into every project and what the hold-up of those projects are, especially with regard to housing. For those that's the projects that we are getting funding, that is funded by grants that we get from province and national. I just want to make sure that we understand that we do not get the full amount of 31 million rand. We get it per tranche, depending on what is approved. So in other words, we do not have that money with us. We get if you remember, he mentioned trans 1.1. That means there's a certain amount of money for planning. That's trans 1.1, etc., etc. So we do not have the money in our pockets. That money comes as per trans, because this is a grant. I also just want to explain to councillors that what is meant with an offset. It means if there's something found on that area, that means, for example, if we want to do 1 hectare, that means we need to get another hectare somewhere else, or even more somewhere else that we're never going to build on. So unfortunately, we do not own so much land. That's why we have issues with regard to the offsets of some of these projects. And these are environmental laws that we cannot bypass. That's why Gerard has mentioned a lot of these projects are held up because we cannot go on. Just good news that we have met with Eskom. They have now put in the budget for the next financial year. They've added the Laneville upgrade, so we know we can proceed. I also just want to make it clear to councillors, the money, except for the money that is on, if I go to page 12, except for the finances where there's a grant adjustment. That means a grant adjustment means that the department took away part of the grants. Except for that money, the money that we are rolling over, the departmental adjustments is not taken away. It's just moved to the next financial year. So you're going to get a budget now in March, and then in May we'll add these projects again to the to the budget. It's not taken away. It's just that we cannot get to that now at this stage. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Municipal Manager. Councillor Morrison's hand was first. Thank you. Follow up.
Baie dankie, Madam Speaker. Dear Madam Speaker, na die MM toe.
Through you,
Mr.
Madam
MM,
Speaker, to the MM.
Ay, die translation stories. Ja, soos ek gesê het, deur die speaker na die MM toe. Mr. MM, ek hoor wat u sê van die kantoor furniture. Maar daar is nog 8.148 rand.
I hear that what the point you're saying about the office furniture, but there's an amount
8.148.
that is just mentioned.
Is ook deel van legal services, right? So daai is ook seker, maar ek neem aan dit is ook vir office furniture.
Is
Maar
that-
dit gaan
I take it that that amount is also for legal services.
Maar dit gaan eintlik oor die expenditure van die disciplinary hearing met betrekking
Councillor, I'm going to stop you. We are dealing with the budget here. We are not.
It's part
No, Councillor, no. No. This is a rollover budget, the main adjustment budget. We're not discussing disciplinary procedures against officials here. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Now I must carefully think. I think Luanda's hand was second. Thank you, Councillor Luanda of the EFF, and then Chief Whip of the ANC, Councillor Zandile Komani. May I say the other surname also?
No, it's still yes, because leave it, it's fine.
Okay, it's fine. Councillor Luando,
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
please rise.
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear properly the director while he busy reporter ngetsitsiratsitsi.
I did not hear clearly
Di
what the director spoke about just now.
ndiyanqwenela into yokubana ndiphindele phaa clarity ngala tsitsiratsitsi yase-George Courage Ward 9.
The Ward 9 issue, if you could just repeat that part, that portion I did not hear
And
clearly what you said.
ndinesicelo into yoba udirector xa ethetha I know into yoba mde kunam uba kude kunemike makazame usondela kancinci so
If the director can please move closer to the mic so that I can hear properly.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Witbe, you still want to say? Speak.
Ja, Speaker. Ek het deur die minutes gegaan van die mayoral committee.
I went through the minutes of the mayoral committee.
Ek wil vir die mayor vra.
I just want to ask the mayor.
Iets implementeer. Laat ons Batupele terugbring.
If we can
Die mense
implement
eers
something that can bring back Batubele, people first.
As jy deur die adjustment budget gaan.
If you look
Speaker,
through the adjustment budget,
is daar baie klink daar's baie tekortkominge binne in housing.
it sounds like there's a lot of shortcomings within the housing.
As jy 'n lange baan wat daar ry, daar kyk jy ons sit met probleme van kontrakteurs, se kwaliteit van werk.
If you drive past Langaban and you look at the construction that's going on there,
As jy gaan kyk die geskiedenis van die van Herdenbroers.
If
Die
you can
hoofvillers wat kontrakteers is Julies als daai. As daar tekortkominge aan CIDB.
if there's a shortage in the CIDB regulations and the NCR,
Hoekom kan ons nie laat ons eie mense in ons eie munisipale gebied ons
why
huise bou?
can we not make use of our own people in our own municipal areas?
Ja, van die oplossing is CIPC moet hy geregistreer raak, sy CIDB moet reg wees, sy NHBR moet reg wees.
The problem is that all these regulations that he's just mentioned that
Wat hoopvillers hier van Herdenbroers en mense van goed verwag quality
there's many construction
ambasmanne huise gebou het.
there's many construction companies that has built valuable housing and valuable constructions in our community.
Ons mense is nou al moeg.
Our people are now tired.
Environmental studies as die grant is soon toegeneem. Ons mense wag buite vir huise.
Our people are waiting for houses there outside.
Kan die housing department nie 'n housing
Can the housing department
roadshow hou en vir die mense gaan verduidelik wat is die probleme nie?
Can the housing department not go and hold roadshows where they can explain and go into what is expected?
En Madam Speaker, as ons kyk na ons capital budget,
If you look at our capital budget,
Hoeveel percentage is gespandeer tot nou?
How many percentages has been spent till now?
Dat is het onmoontlik om dit nog te spend tot June maand.
Then it's impossible to spend that till June month.
En ek dink dis tyd dat ons ophou vingerwys na mekaar te doen. Dis tyd dat ons begin moet saamwerk en die
it's time
munisipaliteit tot 'n
We
ander
stop
level
pointing
neem.
fingers at each other. It's time that we work together to move on and forward with this municipality.
Speaker Bati amptenare kry motortoelaat. Laat my toe.
It does
Om
not
van-
help that the officials are getting allowances for the vehicles.
Hy kom korre toe uit op kantoor. 5:30 gaan hy weg.
He comes quarter to
Maar
8,
service delivery verander nie buite.
goes home, but the service delivery outside is not changing.
Ons moet kyk om hy tipe policies ook te verander.
We must
Want
look at the
dit maak mos nie sin nie, Speaker.
policies, and we must change, and it's not making any sense.
Ja, Speaker, daar's baie om vandag te sê.
There's a lot to be said today,
Maar ek dink dis tyd dat ons almal moet hande vat
but I think it's time that we all must take hands
en strategieë uitwerk om service delivery te verander buite.
and strategies and come up with strategies where we can change service delivery out there.
En Meyer,
Mr. Mayor,
asseblief laat ons Batupele terugkeer dat die mense eers kom.
please can we bring
Alsjeblieft.
back Batubele so that the people come first?
I thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Councillor Whitford. Councillor Jackson, are you going to vote on the item?
Sorry, point of order, Speaker. Councillor Nkola was first.
No, she said she don't want to speak anymore.
No, she did not.
Oh, you said I mustn't say the other surname. Oh, okay. Apologies, so it's only Councillor Komani. You must still send the email.
Relax, Speaker. Afternoon, colleagues. You know, something is worrying me. I didn't want to say anything, Speaker, today, but listening to everything that is being said, I almost fell asleep when the director was giving us his report. I almost fell asleep because, you know, it's clear that each and every election we go through, a new councillor must come out with his own plan. When he goes out, there will not be a continuation of that project that they left. In Deersville, we had a project of housing long before. This is the third time that the people of Deersville are still waiting for houses. But now there's a narrative that there will not be houses that are going to be built in Saldanha Bay Municipality. While we are waiting for houses in Langeville, we are busy with application with Veteklep and Lowville. We are cutting budgets. Nay, Speaker, man. We must stop with these games. We must stop with games. We don't come here to watch the officials dressed smart and all of us seeing each other with new hairstyles and everything. We come here to make sure that the services are rendered to the people. It cannot be that every time this is the third year. We are now on the fourth year before the term ends. We've been rolling over budgets. We are now cutting budgets. There's no money. There's a lot that is not making sense. And you know, we will go to a time where we must vote for official increases. Then heads will roll. But now all we are hearing is stories. As nothing is being said. What is said the most is that when the president was delivering a SONA, people said he said a whole lot of nothing. Continuation of the same thing and nothing of implementation. It's the same thing as we are doing here in SBM. There is no implementation of projects. I'm hearing now, Tsitsiratsisi have been existing for how many years? But now they're still doing a feasibility study on how to improve the lives of our people. Cutting the budget of human settlement, I won't go much on it because it breaks my heart. We are currently now sitting with people with no toilets in George Carriage in the Tsitsiratsitsis that are still being done a feasibility study. Up to date, Tsitsiratsitsis existed 2011, end of 2011. We are now in 2025. When are we going to stop with these games? We should move away from playing politics with the lives of our people. We can play politics during elections time, but elections have gone past, Mr. Mayor. We are here to make sure that the lives of our people are being bettered, because they send us to serve them, not to come and sit here. And as a matter of fact, I think, Speaker, we should move these chairs, because we become so comfortable that we don't even know why we come here for.
Thank you.
No, Speaker.
Chief
No,
of the ANC.
We've been
Thank you.
rolling over budgets.
Councillor
all these
Jackson,
years.
and then the Executive Mayor will respond. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I just have a quick question, I'd say through you, Speaker, to the MM. We're all sitting here and looking at all these rollovers, and we understand the reasonings behind it and legislation, and we cannot overlook that. But the question that I do have is, what is there that we can, as council and as an organization in its entirety, do to prevent these things from happening? Because we must bear in mind that after a certain amount of consecutive rollover, you are not guaranteed that you will be getting that grant back. So what preventative measures are we able to do? Because we were talking about not shifting the blame, we're talking about standing up and doing something about it. So I pose this question in essence of trying to understand what are we sitting here to do? What are we sitting here to improve the situation? So what do we have as our disposal to show our humanness and our unity to try to preventing this kinds of rollovers going forward?
Thank you. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you to the officials. Let's speak about the decreasing housing budget. Decreases normally comes from the top. Cutting off funding, spending comes from the very top. Then it cascades through everything. It has a knock-on effect. In fact, councillors, just yesterday, I had even my colleague there sent me a photo that the Deputy Minister of Human Settlements took of me, and I said to him, where did you get a photo of me? So we were in Joburg and we had this very discussion. And you asked, how can we work together? I think it's a good question. But the question that we must ask is, how can we work better with national and provincial? Because this thing comes from the top and crashes on us, and we look bad. For instance, for years, we've said we should rethink about bricks and mortar. In China, they build a 5-story flats with everything in it. Plumbing, electricity, everything in it. 5 days. Furnished, the whole story. So and the Deputy Minister said that. She brought it up. There are housing kits. You can build houses quicker without compromising quality. And in fact, you can increase quality. You can increase the dignity of people. We have to rethink. The thing of it, offsets. Offsets often starts by a desktop study. So they do a study, and it's our own governments that are making these environmental rules. And not for a moment I'm trying to say we should compromise the environment. But when it comes to housing, there should be a deeper inspection immediately, not wait till the municipality triggers it and say, what do we have to do now? So it's not 1 hectare that we have to give MM. It's 1 hectare for 12 hectares. Now they want to take it to 24 hectares. We've got a IDZ, same story. They're sitting with a huge crisis. That's our industrial area. But half the area there has been earmarked because they found 2 birds there. Now, I'm not saying we should not look after our environment, but we cannot let a desktop study stop housing. They have to come up with a new formula to do that. And I've spoken to the Premier about this and said, Premier, how can 2 departments work against each other? How can the one say, I want housing, and the other one says, you cannot build? then come up with areas and say you should build here, you should build there, and you should build there. You cannot build here. Because where are we going to find 750 hectares? Councillor Cleophas? Now we have to budget to go and buy 750 hectares because we haven't got it. So we are constantly on the receiving end. So we have to rethink, Councillor Jackson, how do we work together if we are constantly the dumping spot? I feel like, you know, when you're really tanning on the beach and you're really nice and then suddenly a white splat comes from the air when a gulls fly over you and they let go. That's how we feel here. And then we sit and fight with each other. Hopefully, we as a council towards the end of last year approved implementing agents. So we want to implement agents. Hopefully, that works directly and works in bulk. They can do it cheaper, they can do it quicker. That's about to go to tender. The tender has been set up and hopefully that will assist us. The ESCOM meeting, the MM spoke on that. We've had, so we're saying, what are we doing? We took the fight to them. We asked ESCOM to come here. So the head for the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape, Mr. Mbalelu, and his entire team came here and he met with me and the MM. And Councillor, the first thing we asked him was about Langville. Because we know we cannot build if there's not availability of electricity. Imagine if we build 300 houses and we say to people, here's your houses, but we have to wait for ESCOM to give you electricity. That's simply just not acceptable. So in the follow-up meeting, which was last week, they came back and they said, there it is. They showed us the graphs and said, we have now made the money available because you're a good customer that always pay your electricity on time. And in fact, Councillor Jackson, they said, we have now got, for the first time, a handling person because we've been marked as a, what did they call it? A priority client. So we've been marked as a priority client because we've got an impeccable record with ESCOM. So we now got somebody, you know, in the past, you had to speak to somebody somewhere and then try and find your way to the top. We now, as from last week, have a person that we can call and say, Mr. Cleophas, can you help us? This is our problem. And they escalated directly to the top. They came back in a second meeting and said the money is there. Then on the last point, the Batopela principles, I agree with you, Councillor Witwe. And I want to say to Director de Kock and Economic Development Department, not only on housing, on all things, we should educate. We should have, like we have indigenous training sessions, we should have training sessions of how to help people to become compliant so that they can tender for government contracts, that they can do business with this municipality, but not only with this municipality, that they're also on a provincial database where they can get provincial contracts and eventually lead them to wealth. But without that, they are excluded because we are bound by legislation. But I really look forward that we can drive out a program to show our builders, our plumbers, our electricians, all of them, how they must become compliant so that they can do business with the municipality. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Councillor Cleophas' hand was first up. Then we're going to vote on the item. Thank you. No, Councillor Morrison, you had your turn. You may raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Cleophas.
Speaker, ja, ek dink die direkte is so klein bietjie geraak in DSWIL 559. En ek dink die nuus wat die direkte deur die lig stuur is eintlik goeie nuus vir die mense van DSWIL.
The director has touched on what he has mentioned and it's not looking good and it's not good news in fact.
'n projek wat die laaste huis gebou is in 2018 September.
The last house that was built in a form of a project was in 2018.
En vir die afgelope 2 jaar dink ek het ek engagements gehad met die administrasie en so aan te. Deputy Mayor, ek het ook 'n meeting met u gehad rondom dit.
I had a meeting with the Deputy Mayor to ensure that
om seker te maak dat ons die 559 weer van die grond af kry.
So that we can get this.
Dit lyk nie of daai gaan gebeur nie. As ek die direkte reg gehoor het.
It does not look like we're going to get there as I've heard that the director beroed.
Ek het destyds ook gesê, kom ons as ons nie vir ons mense kan huise bou nie, kom ons gee vir ons mense service plots. En ek dink ons praat van 120 goedgekeurde beneficiaries Kom ons roep die mense en gee vir ons mense plots, dan kan die mense hulle eie huise bou.
I've also mentioned and suggested that if we cannot build, we must give these our people in the communities plots that they can build.
Implementation agents waarvan nou gepraat word, dis hoekom Lane wil staan, dis hoekom White City staan, wat sê ek, die prosesse van die munisipaliteit of van die administrasie is lang prosesse deputy mayor. Ons mense soek huise.
Our people are looking for houses. The administration involved is way too tedious and too long.
En ek wil hê jy moet uitkom om te kom kyk die kondisies wat ons mense bly in.
I do want you to come
mense
out.
van 4 kinders, meer as 4 kinders in een hokbesie, 'n klein blokkietjie. As ons moet so stel.
I do want the mayor to come out and have a look at these homes and see the situations at these homes.
Direkte praat van 'n circular 18 wat in 2018 uitgekom het.
Director is talking about the circular that came out in 2018.
Ek wil praat in terme van EPHP en destyds het ons gesê PHP, laat ons mense besluite maak oor wie hulle mense is, wie wil hulle aanstel om hulle huise te bou en seker maak dat ons ook net development programs het gedurende tyd.
I would suggest that we have our own people be involved in the building of these houses. Our own people gives us suggestions as to how to go about to build these houses so we can move forward.
Ek dink ook in hy tyd in destyds former mayor Mr. Marius,
the previous mayor Mr. Marius Koen,
het laat nagte uitgekom om saam met ons discussies te hê hoe om die PHP 'n suksesvolle ding te maak.
He
En ek dink ons het dit goed gedoen tot en met 2018 daar in Deeswil.
He came out to come check if we this suggestions that we had about bringing our own people to be involved with this project, if it was a good idea, and he had a positive outcomes to say about this.
So ek wil voorstel dat ons die nuwe ding gaan nie vir ons weekie director.
This new way is not going to work, Mr.
En
Director.
soos wat die vorige council gesê het, kom ons gaan luister na die mense. Die mense roep daar buitekant en die mense roep vir huise. En ons prosesse lyk nie vir my DEA's wil 559 gaan DEA staat nie, as ek jou reg gehoor het nie. En dit lyk nie vir my of ons voor die nuwe, ek wil eintlik sê voor die volgende verkiesing gaan huise het in DEA's wil nie.
Deasville will not have houses as I see things going now by the next election. Go through and listen to our people.
Baie dankie speaker vir daai minutheid wat jy my gegee het om te praat oor behuising. Ek waardeer dit.
Thank you for the time given to me. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Councillor. Clearfields councillors, I've allowed debate. After the MM and the directors has responded. MM, I also would like you, what the director has alluded to, be informal writing with a full detailed report in detail of where every project is and what it entails and what is the current status, including all the funding and where it has been allocated for. Thank you, councillors. It is a main adjustment budget and we need to vote against the budget approval. Against? No, we need to vote. Thank you.
13.
Okay. For approval of the adjustment budget? En my hand op getel.
Maar is soos jy majority rule. Soos gewoonlik.
Thank you.
Yeah, well.
Councillors, thank you.
Speaker.
Administration.
Orde.
Thank you, councillors. Against the approval is 12, for the approval is 14, so the adjustment budget has been approved. Thank you. Councillors, and I'm at item 13/2. Before I ask for a recommendation for the process plan of the administration that will be submitted to National Treasury. This is only the plan where they must adhere to. Before I ask for a proposal and secondment, any questions for clarity or debate on it? Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just have 2 points for clarity that I need, and then also I'd say a slight recommendation if possible at this point. I do see that on this report, there's targets and goals put in place for everything such as irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, besides for unauthorized expenditure. There is no goal set for unauthorized expenditure. Is there a reason for that? And then also, a recommendation I'd like to make as the impact chairperson with regards to this plan is that there is no stipulated time frame given on this plan as to when such unauthorized, irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure must be reported. As the MM would know, Madam Speaker, the impact is currently sitting with incidents that happened in 2023, currently only investigating it now in 2025. And the question we would have with that, that there is no time limitation on this plan or in this plan is, does that not affect certain operations or certain points of, how can I say, the audit with regards to the Auditor General? Because how are we sitting and investigating matters and issues of irregular, unauthorized, etc., expenditures from 2023, but yet we got a clean audit in the year, financial year of 2023, 2024, etc., So I just think that this report, the planning, lacks a time frame that is given to the municipality, telling them that at so and so a time you must report that that unauthorized or whatever it is expenditure, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thanks for your comment and question raised. Councillor Morrison.
Ja, Madam Speaker. Ons wacht nog altijd voor die impact report wat
We are
ons
still
aangevraagd
waiting
het.
for the impact report that we asked for.
Ons het het nou nog niet onder oor gehad. Ik weet niet wat is die reden.
We still haven't received it. We don't know what the reasons are.
You are now off the agenda. Thank you. You want to speak on the item?
It's part of this item,
No, it's
Madam
not.
Speaker.
No, it's not.
Speaker.
Councillor Morrison, this is a compliance item that the MM and CFO must table to National Treasury to say how they will deal with all the matters outstanding according to the audit report. We got a clean audit because it was these that in here is no material findings, no material irregularities. And if you look at the report, the time frames is there that all of them must be addressed by the fourth quarter of this financial year, which means by the end of June 2024. Councillor, so point for clarities. Thank you.
Bit of debate. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Ma'am, thank you for the opportunity again. Right, first of all, I have a lot of questions on item 13. Reading through it once again, my mind is boggled. I am so concerned that, and I wonder what Councillor Kotz's opinion on this one is, because I know that in the previous council, before 2021, he raised this issue repeatedly, the SBTO. And he always had questions about their finances and how they were run. Now we get this in our report that between 2008, 2009 year until 2020 and 2021, the bulk of this irregular expenditure, the 25 million, comes from a payment that was, or payments that were made to the SBTO in that period. Now, I want to clarify something quickly. When this is mentioned, it says that on the 23rd of January, Council approved that to go through and say that we don't have a qualm with that, the previous adjustment budget, which included that. Then it says the Council Resolution R71 of 25 on January 2023 states that we accepted it. So if we go to page 4 to 6 of that resolution, you will find that a vote was done, 10 opposed on this side. So the full Council did not accept this, as we are not accepting it again. So let us just remember that when we continue. So now I have questions that in this period of time, I want to go to what the director said, Mrs. de Kock, that this is a historical issue at most municipalities my question to her, if she could give me the following examples of other municipalities that did the same, but Neisner was taken to court, and how was that not a problem? Because in this same item, on page 141, our municipality paid Bergrivier's SPTO an amount with no SCM process whatsoever. Human decision. Then we go back. Page 137. Before the circular 111 was issued, these payments were made to SBTO, right? So then circular 111 came, and then suddenly there was now a question raised. Payments to clients or suppliers and tenders contracts were not amended timeously, and that was a human error of 530,871, because it's a human error. Somebody did not do their job on time. Payments made to suppliers not following the SCM process of 187,066 rand. Payments made to employees in contravention of section 663 of the MSA of 101,119,543. Payments made to employees, temporary, contravention of section 30 of the MSR, section 120 of the MSA, to the amount of 597 rand. Million, sorry, 7,597,424. Now the total of this irregular expenditure is 33,947,635, of which the bulk is the SBTO, right? Which was done according to the section 67 of the MMFA instead of following the procurement process. Now I have a question. How do we go past the process that is supposed to ensure that we have the correct tenders, the correct procedures, etc., and we get to that? And now we have an irregular expenditure of such a large amount that you want us to adjust the budget again, like the previous meeting on the 23rd of January, and you want us to, I'm going to finish now, ma'am. You want us to do this by progressing with the plan that you've brought. No, it was the previous adjustment. Remember? Go back to the council resolution of 7 of 1.
Councillor.
Mentioned there.
Can you finish up, Tom?
Yeah.
Get distracted by the opposition.
No, the opposition doesn't distract me at all. Right. They don't distract me at all. And they don't faze me either.
Councillor, your time is up.
My time is almost finished. I don't agree with your plan, Madam Speaker. I don't agree with the plan that you've got, because it doesn't, as Councillor Jackson said, it doesn't make provision for unauthorized expenditure. And this tells me that human error is the reason for this problem. And when will we deal with it?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, as I want to state, this is flowing out of the Auditor General's report. These are all irregular expenditure that we have ourselves declared in our financial statements. And a lot of the investigation as well as a report will go to the impact in terms of their responsibility to look at it, and they will then make a suggestion to council as to what they have found. So this is just to show the National Treasury that we are dealing with, so that we don't have the situation as Councillor Jackson has said, that we don't let things stand over and over and over because we don't want to deal with them. So these are all stuff that we want to deal now with. Why there's no unauthorized expenditure? The first one, the 2.564, Councillor Jackson, that was the unauthorized expenditure that we had. So this is not the full plan. This is just to say what we had on our financial statements. So we're just dealing with that. The first one on the top is the unauthorized expenditure of 2.568 million that we already took to dealt with through the adjustment budget. So it's only the stuff that we have. So if there's other unauthorized expenditure, that will also be dealt with in the next financial year. So that's the new way that National Treasury wants us to work. They want us to have a plan, and they want to follow up on the plan where we have dealt with the stuff. Of course, there will be other unauthorized, other irregular expenditures that we deal with during the year that we pick up, that we some deal with and bring through to the impact. But these are the stuff that comes out of the audit report, man. So, yeah. So that's why there's a specific time now to make sure that we don't get over that time and so forth. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Councillor Witbooi.
Speaker, ek dink is tyd dat ek my graad 13 moet gaan klaarmaak. As jy moet kyk hoe die report geskryf is.
If you look at how the report was written,
baie vaag geskryf. Baie van die goed verstaan.
It's very vague and a lot of things it's not understood by myself.
Verstaan, maar van die good party have rejected.
Good parties rejected
van die, maar die plan wat hulle wil implementeer. Support ons, maar die inhoud binne die ding van die expenses support ons nie.
The good is then supporting the plan put in place.
Thank you, Councillor Witbooi. Councillors, the report is in front of us. Councillor Rousseau has raised a concern. The has responded. The Good Party is against in approval of the report in its totality. They agree with the plan proposed in the recommendations to National Treasury, but not the content of the other part of the report. So can we vote? Can I have a proposal and a second one, and then we vote on it? Propose. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Mamapola and Executive Deputy Mayor. Can we vote on the item to approve the item 13 for approval? Against?
Well,
thank you. For approval of the item, Alderman Koen, behave.
14.
Put my hand to. Thank you. Against the item 12 and for the item approval is 14. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.